knives. They're cool, but what if you could have an automatic knife? And when I say automatic, I mean a knife that is mounted on your arm. You push a button and phew, cool sound effect, phew, sticks out. So we gotta make something. That would be super cool. And every video starts with a trip to the auto parts store. Hey, by the way, if you're wondering, what is he riding? Yeah, literally a jet scooter. You can check out that video on my channel. Do it. All right, so to start off, I need to get some supplies, so I ran to Lowe's and I got some metal flat bar, a bunch of this. This was like 120 bucks for literally just this, a few pieces. And I also got some bolts as well, because what's so cool about this project is it's gonna be made with simple tools. I'm not gonna be using a welder. It's just gonna be drilling holes. We're gonna use bolts and a grinder for cutting. So you guys could even do this. It could be a DIY project, homemade project. That's right. This is the basics of it. I literally just had a big spring. I'm like, wow, I should do something with a spring and the blade. So it's gonna mount to my arm, pull the trigger, pew, shoots out. So the first thing I had to figure out was, how do you get a spring like this one, which you can squish it down, and in total you get like a little bit over 1.5 inches of push, from all the way compressed to stretched out, about 1.5 inches. And I want, let's just say the blade is 1 foot long and I want it to move out 8 inches. How do I get 1.5 inches to turn to 8 inches? So here's what we're gonna do. It's gonna do something like this. We're gonna have a spring in the middle and then a rod, and it's gonna be pushed right at the base. When you push the base from right here on the spring up to there, on this end, it moves way further, and that's gonna push a rod, which pushes the blade. If that makes any sense, perfect. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. We're gonna figure it out. Here's all the metal. Let's get chopping. That's beautiful. By no means perfect, but beautiful. I just realized I probably should have drilled a hole in the metal before I bent it, because I can't put it on my drill press now. Okay. Now, I cannot stress enough how handy a 3D printer is, okay? Because I need something to hold the spring onto this thing on my arm, right? So I got my spring right here. Boom. I 3D printed this, okay? It took like 4 hours, solid plastic. Where else could you get a piece like that? You couldn't. You'd have to make it. That right there is the base stub for the spring, so that way it doesn't want to bend sideways. How handy is a 3D printer? 11 out of 10. I'm also gonna make a blade, and the blade's gonna be made out of this metal right here. So I'll make the blade, we'll set it in here, figure out how long it needs to be before I bend the corners. So if I bend them here and that's too short, well then, you know, can't reverse it. So I'm gonna first make the blade and some of the other components, and then I'll just start to build forward. Once I'm close to the end, I'll take it all apart and then bend the final 2 front corners in. So let's go. I just remembered I need to drill holes in this before I bend it, because then I gotta use hand drill, and that's not good. That was close. A rough guess. Yeah, it's kind of interesting doing it this way, because I gotta really plan ahead. It's like, okay, these holes are gonna go here. I'm gonna drill them now, and then later on, just make sure that the pieces fit. By the way, I'm so glad that I bought this drill press, because literally it saves you a ton of time. When you got a lot of holes to drill, like I just drilled 4 holes there. If I had to do that with this thing, oh boy, that would be a pain in the butt. And I got this drill press, by the way, for $75 at a thrift store. I mean, come on, does it get better than that? Cheap tools, but good quality and work. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, that's a perfect fit. All right, so now the spring goes on here. We got the width sorted out with that bracket. Now I gotta go ahead and make the head, which goes on top of this. So I got the scrap piece of metal. If I go back to the design, it's basically gonna be a circle, and then there's little tabs here, which are gonna curl down and they can hook into the side of the spring. And then these two squares will fold up and I can put a bolt through. Okay. Okay, so here it is. This is probably some of the most rigged up stuff I can make, but it works. It's got these little teeth hold onto the spring. The bolt goes in the top, and then now this right here is my flat bar for the rod, and the rod is gonna go onto this nut here. So if it works, it works. I just made this little piece here, which goes in and it holds the spring straight, because when it pushes up, it's gonna wanna bend that direction. So this is gonna be there to stop it. All right, perfect example of work smarter, not harder, okay? I got this bracket here and I'm trying to bend down both of these wings, but the whole thing just bends down. So I got a bolt here and I put a nut in place, and now that bolt's gonna hold the center up perfectly, and I can get a hammer and beat the sides down. Who would have thought, huh? Okay, so I've revised the design. This is the old, just little piece of the arm. You can see how long the slot is. So that allowed the spring to get closer to this side. So I made this new slot. It's much smaller, as you can tell. Now, I can pull it back. Boom! Oh yeah, do a soft hit. Oh! And literally, this whole thing made with bolts, again, no welding, which is good. And I also have this little bracket right here, which I'm gonna drop in. There we go, and now, there we go. So, this is gonna be pulled back. It's gonna push a rod, which will be connected to his blade. The blade's gonna start back here, and it's gonna move all the way up to about there. Then I can go ahead and figure out the trigger system, which, by the way, for this build, I've only got 24 hours. This is a 24-hour build, okay? So, the clock's ticking like big time right now, so I gotta get going. I'm just gonna keep building. Go, 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 go. Okay, here we go. Here's the bracket. The blade goes in there. Fits perfect. So I got one of these spacers here. I'm using one right here, and I'm using one right here. And believe it or not, those were saved from like 2 years ago. So when your mom tells you, why are you saving all this stuff? You're never gonna use it. I mean, I save a lot of washers and like O-rings and all this stuff. And look at that. The perfect match right there. It keeps it away from the blade. Okay, now, this is just a little piece of scrap that I had, and I put a slit in there so I could get the blade in, because with a grinder, you can't cut just a small section. You have to cut a longer piece. Anyways, when the blade gets pushed, and then it pops past this one, it's gonna move over. So I happen to have this little bracket, already had the hole drilled, and that fits in there. That holds the blade. Boom. One thing is that this nut does not go on more than 2 threads because it's just not long enough. So what I'm gonna do is just leave it for now, because I think it's gonna be fine. If it pops off, it pops off. I'm just gonna have to get another bolt, but again, I only got 24 hours for this, so I ain't got time for that. All right, so I got this last piece of metal here, and I'm going to drill a hole on the other side and then bend up the 2 sides, fold them up, and then this will be the handle to hold on to. There we go. Okay, check this out. Here it is. Gotta hook up the lever mechanism, but I mean, come on, that's freaking awesome. So now I'm gonna go ahead and hook up a trigger system. Here's a closer look. So you can see the trigger mechanism. I just had to wrap this around. I was on a time crunch, so it's not the fanciest thing. And then underneath, it's got a little pin, which sticks up and goes into that hole. All right, so there we go, it's loaded. You can see the pin right there. And then this is the firing trigger right here. So all I gotta do is, boom. Okay guys, it's done. It's super late at night, and the quality in here is not that great because it's very low lighting, but check it out. So all I gotta do, you just pull the blade back and that little pin pops up. All right, check it out, look at this. Boom. That's absolutely awesome. All right guys, so that's the end of today's video. It's about 10 o'clock at night, and I got a mess in here. So I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, and drop a comment if you want. Let me know your thoughts. If you want to see more stuff like this, let me know. You can also follow me on Instagram at KB_KingBuilds. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.